All right, so we got 10. What is your name and where are you from?
Ryan Gaffney. I'm from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Awesome. How did you originally hear about my website?
Uh, Basically, was searching online how to kind of learn to play an instrument online, and came across Shawn's website just through a simple Google search.
Awesome. Okay. What do you like most about learning from my method?
Shawn's method is, for me, it's easy to understand. It takes the complexities of music and breaks it down into small, digestible pieces that are not overwhelming and that allow me to feel some element of success and accomplishment.
Awesome. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but one of my things is I really try to make the lessons I do be as much as I can like the original as possible. Do you notice that? You care about that? Is that something that matters to you?
Yeah, that is important to me. I've heard Billy Joel say that all of the sheet music that's out there, like he had somebody in his band go through and like redo everything and release new volumes and collections of that because it was inaccurate and whatever. So yeah, I think it's important. I certainly with certain songs, it's not critical to me, but I think that the detail, like with certain live versions of songs, like when Elton
Sure.
John does something live,
Oh
like
yeah.
that's how you want to play it, or that's as close to that as possible. So
Sure.
I do appreciate that for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, Elton John, that's the live is the only way to go to me. He
Yeah,
just
I
gives you
agree.
so much more.
Yeah.
What makes my method different from other online piano lessons?
I think again, like I said, it's a manageable amount of information in a single lesson. It's conceptual to me, it's visual, and and in a way I'm learning notation, but I'm learning it in a way to me that's more practical. And my time is really scarce, with kids and occupation and things. I can't be sitting down trying to learn like some kid's song and hoping that that's going to get me to the next level, by learning Itsy Bitsy Spider or something. I mean, it has its place, but at my point in life where I'm at as an adult trying to learn this, Sean's method is much more direct and more satisfying.
Thank you. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with my lessons?
Oh, absolutely a 10, no questions. No questions.
Wow, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get pretty good on that. Some people will give me a 9 or 9.5 or something, and I love that too because there's always room for me to get better. And
Sure.
I'm still trying to get better. There's an old saying that when you stop getting better, you stop being good. So I've always, but thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a family member or a friend, and if so, why?
I would, and I brought your name up to people when they ask, about where can I learn to play piano or learn, because I know you have guitar lessons on there too. And I certainly would. I think it's just you're very accessible, affordable, makes sense, and for the adult or the young adult trying to learn quickly, to me, it's the most efficient and fun way to do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Well, it's an honor to get to meet you. I mean, I feel just like you do. Uh, you're awesome. Um, and what can I do for you? And this is not a, trying to get another hard request. What can I do to help your dream come true of playing in front of people? Is there anything I can help you with that? Is there anything at all?
That's a hard one. I mean, I think it's more on me, I think, than anybody else, to do that.
Yeah.
But I think for me this is kind of a good way for me to reset and say, well, I need to make sure I carve out that time or announce it to family or just it's important to me, but I don't think I've been
Yeah.
treating it as
Yeah.
importantly with everything else that's going on.
Sure.
So for me, that
Yeah.
this is a good reminder of that. And it's as simple as what you said is very important. It's very good advice.
And how you doing?
Hey, Sean, hey, hey.
Good to
I'm
see you,
like
bud.
speechless. Hey, same here. You've been a part of our household for like the last 10 years, so your
Really? Well, you
voice
don't
is
look
always
that old,
coming.
so you must have been a child.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way?
40. I'm 40.
Oh my gosh, you look a lot younger. See,
I
I'm
get that all the
50. I'm
time.
gonna be 51. Gosh, okay. So you're one of
Congratulations.
those people that just look that. look really young. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Lucky
good
for
genes,
you.
I guess. Thank you.
Because I remember your name for years. I mean,
That's
Ryan
awesome.
Gaffney, that was always in
Yeah,
my email box. So
yeah.
it's good to finally meet you.
Same here for sure. I mean, I almost had like the butterflies in my stomach kind of thing when I got the email from you, just because it's like,
Just a second. Shauna, can you turn it up? I can barely hear him. Okay, now talk now, Ryan. See if I can hear
yeah,
you.
can you hear me all right?
Oh, that's much better. Wonderful.
Okay. No,
So
yeah, I
you're
was saying
nervous to meet
I had
me.
like, yeah, like the butterfly thing, and it's like I feel like I need a lanyard with a VIP, card or something to meet you backstage.
That is funny. My
So
kids
this,
would just roll and laugh at that. Yeah, but I,
oh, I'm
I
sure.
get that reaction sometimes. I guess because of the just being on YouTube and so forth.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but you don't have to feel that way at all. I mean, I'm I'm just a regular guy, loves piano.
yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you for doing this. I love it. I'm anxious to get into your story and just to kind of hear. So there are these questions I have to ask at the end that are for the business part of it because I have some people that are going to edit it and help me on the testimonial side of it. So it may feel like I'm asking you again what we already talked about, but if you just wouldn't mind answering it again the best way you can.
Sure.
And yeah, so well, I'll let you know when we get close to that time. But I figure, just for the first part, we can just get to know each other, and I'd love to hear your story, where you come from, and your journey in music. So that's always exciting. So where are you from?
I'm from Pennsylvania. Live currently in the Harrisburg area, Carlisle, Harrisburg area, so central Pennsylvania.
Okay, married, got a family.
Yeah, so married, been married going on 8 years now.
Oh,
Two
wonderful,
kids. Yeah, we have a 4-year-old son and an 8-month-old. So
wonderful. So you're right in it, man.
I'm in the trenches right now. Yeah.
You are. Yeah, I was in that when you probably hear some of the really old videos. You can hear my kids screaming on there.
Yeah, there's a
And
couple I can recall. Yeah.
I love that happened now. At the time, it wasn't, cool because I was like, I was trying to be professional and whatever. And finally got to where I just said, I'm never going to get anything done if I stop every time they scream or make a noise or something. So I just let the camera roll. There's even one time where they're both in diapers, my young ones, and I just let the camera on. I said, I'll be right back. I got to go change a diaper. I just let it, I didn't have the editing stuff to back then.
Yeah.
So I just went and changed the diaper and I came back in about 3 minutes and kept going.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's the way life is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So you've been with him for 10 years, you said.
I think it's at least 10. I was when I first found you, you did not have any kind of computer screen. I mean, it was on the whiteboard, with the dry erase markers. So I don't know how long that is for you, but um,
Yeah.
it was a little different. Yeah, but
Yes, that was. And what's kind of cool is that no one complains that, oh, why don't you update everything? It seems like people are still using the old videos. And at one time, I tried to update them. I was going to start, and then people were like, "No, don't take them off. I'm used to
yeah,
that way for that song."
right.
So you run into that? Do you see the whiteboard and you're like, "Oh no," or does it not bother you now, or what? How do you feel about the
No,
fact that
not at all. I mean,
technology
a
has
lot
moved
of
on?
yeah, I still go back to a lot of the best songs that I like are still on the old whiteboard, and I still go to those. I was just using sticks the other day, "Come Sail Away," and that's one of the older ones. I know it's on your university thing, but the old one is still the good one, I think. But the one that I'm
Yeah,
used to. I'm just used to
yeah.
it. The way it looks, I don't know what to say about it, but
Cool. Yeah, I'll go back and I'll look at them and I'll think, well, that is pretty, I feel like if I did it again today, that would pretty much do it the way I did it back then.
yeah.
And I love that people are still using the old, there's some of them are 17 years old, some of those old videos. So I'd love to hear that from you that it doesn't bother you and in fact
Yeah.
you're fine with it. So how did you, when you growing up, how did you get into music? Did you take traditional piano lessons? Did you play another instrument? Did you have to do classical lessons, but you wanted to do rock? What was your story there?
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely no musical training at all. I just grew up with my parents, were big music fans, and Beatles were always on the radio, and I kind of just listened to that all the time growing up. And music for me has always been an outlet. I'm in medicine, I'm a physician,
Okay.
so my upbringing was very regimented. Like I had to get good grades. If I wanted to go to med school, I was like stuck in the books all the time,
Yeah.
and music was kind of my way out. And
Oh.
and that's kind of where, and it's always part of my life, and that's kind of where things are. So
Oh wow. So so you never had any formal training. You said you're not music trained, but you really are. If you can play stuff, you just have a different way of doing it.
yeah,
But so you didn't have any formal training. So how did you learn? I mean, where did you start? I mean,
my
to
son wants
play.
to say hello, Sean.
Oh, hi.
This is Marshall.
Wonderful. Hi,
Sorry,
little guy. What's his name?
Marshall.
So, and there's
Marshall. Nice to meet you, Marshall.
sticker on my see 1, 2,
Stickers on your arms.
I see
and
that.
7.
Do you recognize this guy?
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
What does he play?
the piano.
The piano, yes. All right. Well, Daddy's in it.
Wonderful.
All
All
right,
right,
buddy.
Marshall.
Go check out with Mark. Go check
I
out with Mark.
know. My wife Shauna is doing the tech for me here. She's about to cry. I love
Talking
that.
about kids interrupting your videos and stuff. This is how it
Oh,
goes.
I'd love it. I'd love it. If in fact, if anybody's having trouble with their kids in public, is if it's not mine, it doesn't bother. I actually love it. But mine are getting to that age where they're out of that stage. Now my youngest one now is 11, so I'm missing that. I have my oldest one is going to be 21. He's in college, and so
All
he's
right.
fine.
All right.
Awesome. So do you see your kids kind of getting into music? Because
Yeah, Marshall knows, he knows a lot of the artists. I mean, he hears what I play on the radio all the time when I get him from daycare and stuff. So he knows Jimmy Buffett and Billy Joel and Elton John,
Oh, that's
the
wonderful.
classics. So I
That's
don't think he
great.
knows anything about new music. And I mean,
Yeah,
even like Taylor Swift, I don't think he even, I don't play any of that stuff. It's just all
I
the
don't
old
either.
70s and 80s,
I am not a Swiftie at all. I love that. You mentioned that your parents had it going on in the house, and so that
Yeah.
did something for you. It's something about being
It,
a kid and hearing it, and then
yeah.
your kids are getting to hear it, so you're kind of passing that on to them.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, like we had nobody in my family plays any instruments. Um, yeah, it's like John's Wall, yeah.
Hey, Marshall.
But I just never really I regretted not having to learn an instrument, like not learning one when I was a kid. And it was
Yeah,
like I just wish my parents had exposed me to maybe I didn't want to do it when I was younger. I really don't know. But I wish I had learned something when I was younger. And so when I was an adult, I love music. I listened to it all the time, but I couldn't play anything. And
yeah.
and so I started with the drums when I was in college.
Okay.
And the drums were fun, but it was just such a racket, for everybody around me.
Yeah,
And I couldn't practice, and then when it came time, like I want to sit down and play a song and I want to share it with somebody and I could start playing the drums, but aside from a few songs, nobody really knew what I was playing.
yeah,
It was just racket, and so like the drums just wasn't hitting for me. And then with me going to med school and stuff, it just, I couldn't travel with a drum kit, to med school,
yeah.
and it wasn't a priority.
Uh-huh.
So,
Drums are a good way to get some stress out too. You just beat on the
that
drums.
is true. Good stress reliever. So
That's awesome. So you started, I want everyone to hear that. You're a late starter, but that didn't
right,
matter. You still were able to do it. A lot of people think, oh, can only do it when you're a kid. That's not true at all.
right, right,
So
right.
you started late, you started drums first, and I bet, the drums really helped you in your piano rhythm later. But I've noticed that a lot of drummers and guitar players, they don't have the rhythm problems that on the piano that people that just play piano do. So that probably helped you, I would think.
It does. I know you talk about that on some of the videos, with the pedaling and the left and right hand, I feel like that comes a little easier for me, I think, just
Yeah.
because of that,
I think
that
so.
experience. Yeah.
So the piano was next. So what was your first experience playing the piano?
Yeah, I just kind of said, well, I want to learn an instrument that I can play, that somebody can recognize the tune, and so the piano just kind of was for me was what I gravitated to, because I love Billy Joel and Elton John and Phil Collins and all that stuff. So,
Me too.
um, so yeah, what happened in I was in residency and after med school in an apartment, and just on the internet, just typing in like whatever piano tutorial online, and there was I think it was a Jackson Brown song that came up, and it was
Okay.
like a song that I love, but you never see anybody like it's not a popular Jackson Brown song. It
Yeah.
was just like one of his B-sides, and it was this part one thing on this whiteboard. it was I think it was called The Loadout. And
Okay, yep, that's it.
yeah, and so I just like, oh man, I love that song. And then I watched that video and I'm like, I think I could do this. And I sat down and listened to just that part one for like 2 weeks. And I was able to crank that out, having I couldn't read scales and chords. I have no sight reading experience.
Yeah.
And my wife, my girlfriend at that time, I'm like playing this for her, and she's like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, and there wasn't a lot of bum notes. I mean, it was pretty cool, and that was like a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah.
And then from
Wow.
there, it just kind of like, well, now I didn't have the money to be like a member at that time. Like I was
Yeah.
just kind of, still in school and in training. But once I got my feet started, I kind of wanted more of that whole website and your method. And then I became a member, and then I started requesting special, songs that I liked.
Yeah, I know.
And
You're
it's
you
just like,
hey man, you've got to see some rough times.
yeah, yeah,
Get the
yeah.
requests.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking through the list, like just thinking about which ones did I request, and there's like 20 or so songs on there, like ones I forgot I even
Yeah,
requested, and
it's been a lot.
I have to go back and actually learn some of those that
So
I.
thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. Wow. So I love that you could just jump in and you could play what you wanted to play right off the bat.
right.
Now you've got some musical talent in you. You're probably a humble guy, and you'll say, "Well, I don't have that much," but you probably have more than you would say. So music is in you because you heard it, from when your parents were playing it, and you just. I hear this over and over again that the method that I'm using just allows you to go straight to doing what you want to do because music reading is a great skill to have. I mean, I can read music,
Sure.
but I found as a teacher, because I've been teaching since I was 16 years old, that it becomes a roadblock block for a lot of people because you have to learn this really difficult skill in order to finally one day I can play the stuff I want to play. So you always feel like, "Oh, I'm working so hard on learning this skill so that I can play Billy Joel, I can play Elton John." And then
Yeah.
once you finally get there where you can kind of do that, you buy Billy Joel sheet music for Piano Man, and it's nothing like the real thing.
Yes.
And you're like, that's a common thing. So I love to hear that you were able to start from day one to play, and you were probably really impressed, and made you want to learn more music after that. So the method worked for you right off the bat. So
No,
how did you like the names of the notes on the keys? How did you deal with that since you've never had any previous music?
Yeah, I think it was almost like self-explanatory, just watching your video, the song video. Like you didn't even have the university or anything back then. It was just kind of like, I mean, you did a good job of in that first lesson, just explaining things in a very basic manner.
Mhm.
That I didn't have to have this wide array of musical knowledge. And you repeated things, a couple times through that lesson. So there was information there to learn. It wasn't overwhelming in terms of the amount of it, and it was in the smaller digestible pieces, and then there was just sort of this reiteration through the whole video, and then you
Yeah,
would take a couple chunks, and then you go back. I always love that you would go back and just play it all through of what you've gone through so far, and
yeah,
it just kind of solidified for me. I learned that's the way I've always learned things,
yeah.
medicine, whatever it is in life, but
Sure.
certainly piano. Yeah, it's just very basic.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I feel like I came along at the right time because I'm old enough to where I had to actually teach real people in person before the internet. So I have that experience of sitting beside kids, adults, young
yeah,
people, and I know instinctually what they're going to need help with. And so I think a lot of the teachers today that are young, I would, they're great teachers and they're great, musicians, but I feel like there's a little something missing. I wonder if they've actually taught real people for any length of time, because that's the missing element. The technology is great, but I feel like, if I were to give them advice, I'd say, get about 10 students and teach them every week. And I think you'll improve 100-fold on your ability to, because the teacher's experience isn't going to be the regular person's experience. And you actually have to go through that with a real person before you
yeah,
develop those instincts. So that's why I repeat stuff, because none of my students all those years would remember if I just said it one time. So I know I got to say it 50 times, and I know I got to
right,
say it every video lesson. And I know I got to keep telling you quit pedaling so much,
yeah,
or you
yeah,
can't just say it one time. So a lot of those things are kind of built in from just years of teaching, because that's the only way I've ever made a living. And
yeah.
so yeah, that's where all that would come from.
Okay, yeah.
So, how many songs do you think you would have learned? Now, I'm not talking about perfect, but how many songs have you got into that you feel like you got a basic understanding of them, do you think, in these 10 years?
Yeah, I think I would say, I mean, the number is not as high as I mean, I don't know, probably between 15 to 20 songs. The thing with me is like I'll learn like the first two lessons or the first three lessons of a song, and I'll learn it really well. And then I kind of, and it might be like a disadvantage for me or a weakness is that I kind of then the song loses its freshness, so to speak, and then I'll move on to something else. Or the next video will come up and I'll be like, oh, I love that song too. Let me start that. And then it's, then I kind of jump around a lot. And
That's not a bad thing, Ryan. That's good.
yeah, so I wish I had more of like the regimented to sit down and learn all 8 lessons and play the whole song, from start to finish. But I've always kind of, like medleys of things and stuff like that. That's more where I'm at. And like if I could play an intro to something or a solo that somebody would recognize, that's
Yeah.
what's means more to me, I
Yeah.
think.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's like, is your goal to be good at piano or is your goal to have fun playing music? It's what you have to
Right.
decide. And
That's a good
and
point.
having fun playing music, it sounds like what you're doing because you're probably at the top of your field at your occupation. So music doesn't have to be that. It can be just enjoy
Yeah,
it. You don't
good
have
point.
to play something and be judged on it. You're just playing for fun. So if you say this is not interesting to me, I'm going to go over here. That's what you're doing, and I don't think you should feel like you're lacking anything in that at all. That's the way to do it. Actually, is playing a lot of things and keep moving on. And I always say, let's say someone learns an intro of a song, but the rest of it's really hard. I say, well, just play the intro and then move on to something else. Maybe one day you'll come back if you want
Right.
to, but just keep learning new things. Keep exposing yourself to new music. That's how you get better as a musician,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
trying to go for that one song that's really hard that you think somehow is going to make all your dreams come true because it never does.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd want to ask me? Sometimes people have some questions for me, and it could be about music, it could be about anything. I don't care what it is, but is there anything you're wondering about?
Yeah. I mean, I guess with my schedule more recently, with work and with the kids, there's days I don't fit music into my day, and it's like throwing nails out when I'm going at 60 miles an hour, and it deflates me a little bit. And it's like then the more days that go by, I don't go back to it, because I kind of feel bad that I didn't do it, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. So how do what would be your advice or how do you tell other students, like, what do you do in that situation to avoid falling
Well,
apart?
you have this kind of goes into not just music but just wisdom as a person, as
Life,
a
it's life,
as a
yeah.
follower of Jesus. To me, it's just you have to prioritize, and I'm sure you already do that. God, family, work, business,
Yeah.
whatever. But if something is important to you, you have to do it early in the day if you
Okay.
can. Not everybody does that, but doing it at the same time every day will help. And you probably know some of these things because you're highly successful in your field. But saying no to other things is hard. But I've learned you just have to do that. Certain things that aren't that important to say no to them, so you have time for the other things. But I really feel like carving out. I mean, if music is that thing for you that allows you to release and decompress, I think it's very important that you put it in there somewhere. And I've found for me, if I don't do it early, then I don't get it done for me if something's really
Yeah.
important. But feeling bad about it, you know, I if all the other boxes are checked, God, family, business, kids, wife and everything,
Yeah.
that's what makes me, gives me the most feel good about myself. Um, and if you don't get to that, I feel like we don't have to beat ourselves up about that. But if it's really important to you for yourself, just to have that alone time playing music, just carve out some time and let everyone know this is Dad's time. This is when
Yeah.
I do this so that I can be a better father, a better husband, a better. So that's what I would recommend is having that time, and everybody knows that's when you're going to do it.
Mhm.
That makes any sense. If that
That's
helps.
simple. No, that would be something I could do differently than what I'm doing now. Just announcing it, actually, not just sitting there when there's utter
Yeah.
chaos in the house, and then
Oh, I know. I
the
hear the
kids are running
chaos
around and I'm trying to just
because
do it and it's
you
cramming
can
in.
make the best plans and kids will just throw a big old wrench right in the middle of it. I mean,
Yeah, that's
that's
exactly.
just life. Like for
Yeah.
me, I've recently, I always want to get up time and spend time with the Lord in the morning and, or whenever. And if I just don't get it done, I'm getting up and I'm just not having the time that I want. Something always happens. I'm always doing something else. So I just started getting up an hour early. I get up at 5 now. I mean, you probably already get up at 5 or earlier. And I met a guy now who gets up at 3, if you can believe it, every day.
Wow,
But
wow.
yeah, so I just made that decision, and so far I'm okay. I'm still going to sleep okay and getting enough
Yeah.
sleep, but I've just made that decision to get it up at 5, and I do it every day, and I've been doing it for a while. My wife will attest to it. She's still waiting to see if I can keep it up. But yeah, I think we're all on that journey, man. And people
Okay.
feel like they stink at piano. Sometimes I'm think, man, I suck, and I really do feel like that sometimes when I'm.
Um,
I'll have some days where I just don't play well, and I feel terrible about how I play, or I feel like I'm just not as good today, or something. I have those feelings. Everybody has them. You just have to keep
Yeah.
moving and go on and let music be the outlet you want it to. Have fun with it. Just it's not your occupation. It's my occupation,
Yeah.
but it's not yours. It's for, release and enjoyment. And I
Yeah.
would I would love, do you ever gig? Do you ever go places and play?
I have not, I kind of beat myself up and think I'm not good enough, for that. I think,
Yeah.
but, I think if I just need to commit to it and do it at some point, but that would be awesome.
Yes.
That's like a dream of mine. I'd like to play in a band. That's
Oh
like,
my gosh. I
yeah.
I would love, if I can help in any way in doing that. I would love to help you to do that. We're
Mhm.
doing that myself. My son is 19. He's an awesome guitar player. We're getting ready to go gigging with him and to let him experience that. But I would say go for it, man. Get a few
Yeah.
songs together that you feel comfortable about, and see if there's a
Yeah.
little coffee shop somewhere that lets you come and set up and play an open mic somewhere. But I hear the people that actually do that, it just opens up so many other doors with their playing, and they just start, soaring. Because people are generally pretty kind if you're playing out
Yeah.
somewhere. Nobody's looking at you to pick you apart usually, and the
Right.
more they drink, the better you sound to them. So, you know, gosh.